Hey, I'm Matt. I'm 16 years old and I volunteer here at Fauna. I am the Crested Gecko breeder for the store, and I also have other reptiles such as uromastyx and a corn snake. Pretty long story actually. I do martial arts, so I was doing a performance in the park for martial arts and I met this leucistic Texas rat snake, which is a nice beautiful white snake. And I got to handle him and I fell in love with him, so I wanted a snake. But I felt bad for mice, so I started researching insectivorous snakes, and I got into ringneck snakes, and then I came here to see if I could find one here, and we didn't have them. So I went into lizards, which started with chameleons, then bearded dragons and leopard geckos, then finally crested geckos, and they were the ones, and so I started working with them, and my love just grew for them as I worked with them more. I started keeping reptiles about 3 years ago in 2010, so I was 13. Yeah. That was when I got my first pair of crested geckos here at Fauna. Currently, I have 2 male crested geckos, 5 female crested geckos, 4 baby crested geckos, 10 eggs, so that's a total of 11 live crested geckos and 10 eggs. And I have 1 ornate uromastyx, and I'm caring for 1 corn snake. Yeah, when my father first started getting me into animals when I was really young by watching Steve Irwin and Jeff Corwin and all those guys on TV. Then I met Daniel, and Daniel, of course, has probably had the biggest influence on my life so far when it comes to animals. And that's basically the extent of my inspiration for reptiles. Yeah, everybody in my family loves the reptiles, my mom even, which is surprising because she generally is pretty squeamish when it comes to those things, but they all hold the animals, they love them, they're part of the family basically. A lot of my friends think it's kind of strange. They think I'm interesting because of it, but they like it, and whenever they come over to my house or come to Fauna, they genuinely make an interest in them. They start to ask me about them more, and they learn about them, and I don't stop talking about them, so they kind of have no choice but to learn about them. But some of them, my friends, actually started getting reptiles after I started talking to them, which is nice. When I first started with my crested geckos, their mating rituals are not the friendliest. And when I first got them, I didn't know about them, so I freaked out, and I would stay up all night trying to keep the male and the female separate because I thought the male was trying to attack her. And I had no idea what they were actually doing until I came in, and that's when my dad met Daniel before me. He asked him about that, and Daniel answered their breeding. And I relaxed a little bit, but I was still pretty freaked out about it. Animals are beings, animals have feelings, and they shouldn't be treated as items. In the pet trade, a lot of animals are, they put them together in really small spaces so they breed, and then they'll take their babies and immediately sell them out and shipping them all over the world. I do not support that. Every single one of my babies is part of my family. Every time I see one, I freak out and, oh, he's grown so big. But they're more than just items. They have emotions and feelings, and you can really get to know them. Well, one, snakes are not poisonous; they're venomous. But mostly about reptiles. I mean, not all tails grow back. The crested gecko's tails don't grow back, although some other species do. But I'm okay with a lot of the myths they spread because a lot of them make reptiles seem pretty cool. But yeah, one of my pet peeves is snakes are venomous, not poisonous, and not all snakes are venomous.